Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll be discussing getting an accounting job at Amazon. And you'll see that with about 7 or 8 years of experience in accounting or finance working at Amazon, you can command a compensation package of about 200 to 250K a year. So the three positions that we'll be talking about today is a finance manager, an accountant, and then a tax analyst. So we'll be looking at like three different areas in the business. FP&A, which is a finance manager, and then we'll be looking at accounting, like a really core accounting job, and then a tax analyst position. And the reason, obviously, why we're talking about Amazon is because Amazon has a plan for world domination. So working at Amazon, the business will never slow down. The business is growing. Every time you think that they run out of ideas, they come up with a new business line. So beside the retail operations, they have the digital operation with Amazon Prime Video, Amazon Music. They have AWS, which is Amazon Web Services. So the business keeps growing. So that's why we're talking about this today, working in accounting at Amazon. That's the topic of this video, so stick around. Working at Amazon comes with great mobility. So mobility in terms of location and also in terms of moving around within the company. So if you look at their website, you'll see that they have locations in terms of positions in the US, obviously Seattle, Washington. This is their global headquarters. They have in India, so Hyderabad, Pune. They have London, they have Prague in the Czech Republic, and just various other locations within the globe. So this allows you to move around easily and get a job in any location. Beside, you also have the mobility within the company. So if you work in, for example, Amazon Web Services, which is their web hosting business category, you can easily then move within the company and work in the retail operations or in digital music or Prime Video. So there is just a lot of departments within the company and so many locations that you can move easily within the company. So, for example, today the positions we're looking at is the first one is finance manager, and this is for AWS. This is in the US in Seattle. The other position is an accountant, and this is going to be also in the US. But the third position we're looking at is a tax analyst. This is going to be based out of India. So we'll get a variety of different tasks and responsibilities. And the target of this video today is to look at the job duties and responsibilities so that you can learn what kind of things you'll be doing in these positions, and then look at the qualifications. What do you need to do or have in your background in terms of education and experience to be able to get one of these positions? And then also look at the compensation. So we'll look at the compensation for each of these positions so that we get a good understanding of what you have to do and how will you be getting paid to do these things. All right, so the first position we're talking about today is finance manager, and you'll see that this is the highest paid position we're talking about today, with a compensation package between 200K and 250K annually. This is a finance manager position in the US, working in the AWS business, and AWS and Amazon is Amazon Web Services. This is their web hosting service, which is if you have a small business or if you have a business of any size, quite frankly, small, medium, or large, you go to Amazon and you host your data from your website on AWS. So when you start out as a small business, first you host your website on a place like maybe GoDaddy.com. Like my website, I host that on GoDaddy. But then as the business grows and you have more needs in terms of storage and web hosting and programming, you go to AWS and you pay them an annual fee or a monthly fee, and you host your website there. So this position is a finance manager within AWS. And here are some of the key responsibilities and the things that you expect to be doing. So this position will be identifying, quantifying, and communicating, recommending strategies to existing and future financial risks and opportunities. And you'll see this a lot within strategic finance. The main goal of strategic finance is to look at the risks and opportunities of the business. And so your job is going to be looking at the business and the financials and find the risks and the opportunities and making recommendations out of that, right? Then using financial statement information to guide and influence the business decisions that drive customer adoption, revenue, and capital expenditure. So obviously this comes with the territory. As a finance manager or working in strategic finance, you'll be looking at the financial statements, the balance sheet, and the income statement, and finding opportunities and finding ideas to influence the business and give the decision maker information so that they can change the business in a way that will be more profitable for the business. And then you'll be leading financial planning and analysis, building, enhancing, and automating complex financial forecast models and analytical tools. So obviously, this is one of the biggest things with financial strategic finance in general is building forecasting models, right? So you'll be working with various groups within the company to gather data so that you can build a forecast model for sales and also for expenses. And so this is a big piece of the work here is building that forecast model for the business. And then obviously there's things like developing and standardizing, automating financial reports. So we'll be working within whatever ERP software Amazon is using to automate the financial reporting in a way that can create maybe an easy to visualize dashboard to see the performance of the business and things like that. Also delivering ad hoc financial analysis and projects as needed. So in terms of basic qualification for this position, you need to have a bachelor in finance or accounting or business or economics. So these are the areas that you can have a bachelor's degree in, plus a minimum of 7 years of experience in finance, right? So you can either have the bachelor plus 7 years of experience, or they're telling you you could have a master's degree plus 5 years of experience. So it looks like a master's degree will shave off 2 years of the experience that is needed for this position. So with a master's degree, you can only have 5 years of experience for this position. And then obviously a preferred qualification. So these are the basic qualifications, right? A bachelor's plus 7 or a master's plus 5 years experience. But then preferred qualification, if you really want to stand out from the rest of the candidates, you'll have an MBA or a master's in finance, right? So you go out and get a master's degree if you really want to get this kind of position at Amazon. And then the second thing is basic SQL competence. So SQL is a programming language or method that will help you manage big data, right? A lot of times working in strategic finance, you'll be getting tons of data sets or giant data sets from other groups within the company, whether it's sales or the retail operation, and you'll be trying to look at this data and get insight from the data. And to be able to get insight from large data sets, you need to be able to use a programming language that will summarize it in a way that's understandable for you and for the stakeholder who's trying to make the decision. So this is the basic qualification. And obviously, if you're someone right now who work in accounting and you want to make this kind of move into finance, there are some things that you can be doing so that you can prepare yourself for a position in strategic finance. So I have a video on that, on making the move from accounting to finance. I'll leave a link to it up here. But basically, the summary of it is that if you work in accounting, you want to be asking your boss right now to be doing other things beside accounting that relate to finance, such as building a budget and forecast models, so that you can get a taste of what it's like, and also get some experience, and then slowly make that transition into finance. Because quite frankly, and to be honest with you, you'll make more money working in finance than accounting, right? So I've been in accounting for about 15, 16 years. It's pretty good. And they say that the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. So I might be saying that finance, you make more money because it's the other side of the fence. But the reality is, if you look at Glassdoor, which is a website that you can see the various salaries, you'll see that working in finance and FP&A particularly can lead you to making more money in general. So these are the things that you have to be doing if you want to get a finance manager position at Amazon. All right, in terms of compensation, we said the finance manager at Amazon will be making somewhere between 200 and 250K as a total package. So how does that break down? If you look at Glassdoor, and Glassdoor is a great website and resource, I'll leave a link down in the description for Glassdoor. It's a free website. You can create an account and look at the various salaries and comp packages for different companies. If you look there for a finance manager at Amazon, you'll see that the base pay average is somewhere between 90K and 170K. So with the average being in the ballpark of between 130 and 140K. So that's the base pay. So this is the biggest component of your pay is the base pay. And then additional pay will be something that's broken down between cash bonus and stock bonus. So for cash bonus, The average is somewhere in the ballpark of the 40K, and it can range anywhere between 11K to 54K a year. And with the cash bonus with Amazon, you can almost guarantee that's going to be on the higher end because it's always based on the business performance. And the business performance with Amazon is almost always great. You can see that by looking at the stock price over the years, with a very few exceptions. But for the most part, you can rely on that component on being a solid component of the pay. And then the last component here is a stock bonus. With a stock bonus, it ranges between 15K and 130K. So it's a big range, and the average is in the ballpark of 50K. But with stock bonus, the company will grant you an annual grant of a certain number of shares, and based on the fair value of the stock, Glassdoor is estimating that this value here is about 50K on average, right? So when you add it all up, you get to a little bit over 200K. So the range can go upward to 250K for a finance manager at Amazon. All right, the second role we're looking at today with Amazon is an accountant position. So this is a core accounting position in the global financial accounting and controls. So if you look at their website, you'll see that they have a few different distinct sort of functions or the divisions within the accounting team. So they have the legal entity and intercompany accounting. So legal entity and intercompany, this most likely refers to like the intercompany transactions between the companies that are under the umbrella of Amazon. Obviously, there are many, many legal entities under Amazon. So this division will be in charge of the intercompany transactions. And then you have the accounting policy and reporting. Obviously, accounting policy anywhere between expense policy, revenue recognition policy, and as an example, this kind of policies. And then you have operations and capital. So this will have to do with the actual operations of the business. And then transportation, most likely this will have to do with the delivery side of the business. And then you have payments and merchant services, handling of the payments, receiving the payments from customers and remitting those payments to the merchants, because obviously, as you know, Amazon is a marketplace, right? So they also sell some stuff themselves, but for the most part, they're a marketplace where anybody can go on the website and sell things to the consumer. So this payment and merchant services most likely have to do with that. Retail operations. This is most likely when Amazon is a seller. So this is retail operations. Digital. With Amazon, there are a couple of digital products. There is Amazon Music and there is Prime Video. So this is a segment of the business. And AWS, which we just talked about before with the finance manager. AWS is Amazon Web Services, which is Amazon's web hosting service. So let's look at the responsibilities for this position. So you'll be supporting various aspects of the accounting and reporting process. Okay, this is kind of too general. And then understanding the accounting and the financial principles and how you apply them. So obviously, you need to be familiar with US GAAP and how to apply US GAAP to the various aspects of the business. I have a video on US GAAP. I'll leave a link to it up here for you to get more understanding of US GAAP, the principles of generally accepted accounting principles. Okay, you need to understand internal control design concepts, sufficient to assess the effectiveness of controls in their area and design new processes and controls for emerging and growing business activities. So obviously design of internal controls. For example, if you're looking at things like treasury or accounts payable, controls could be things like segregation of duties. Not one person is in charge of creating a vendor, entering an invoice, and making a payment. You need to segregate these duties. This is one type of control. You have a control like access rights. So access rights means that you design the access rights to the various systems within the treasury, whether it's the bank website or the accounts payable platform or the ERP software. Your right of access should only be for your role. So if you're someone who's entering invoices and not payments, your access right needs to be designed to only do that. You can't be able to make payments. So access rights means that you design the different access for different people differently. Excuse me. Losing my voice here. And then also it says execute judgment to keep projects moving and ensure the right decisions are reached to close the books each month. Obviously, being an accountant, you have to be involved in closing the books each month. Strong sense of ownership analysis of complex processes and data and system data. All right, so for the basic qualification for this role, you need to have a degree in accounting, obviously, and then you need to have 3 or more years of related work experience. So you need 3 years of experience to be able to qualify for this position. All right, so these are the basic qualification. As far as preferred qualification, if you want to really stand out, is to have a CPA. So it looks like CPA is not required here, but to have one, you'll stand out from the rest of the candidates. Accounting management experience with Big Four. So it looks like when you have a Big Four experience, it's going to benefit you here. And I have a video on the benefits of working for Big Four. I'll leave a link to it up here. But obviously, when you work for Big Four, it gives you an advantage when you apply for even for a company like Amazon, right? Operational accounting experience with one or more Fortune 500 companies for 2 or more years, working knowledge of the COSO internal control framework. COSO stands for Committee of Sponsoring Organizations. And this is a committee that gets together and designs internal controls framework that companies can work with to have efficient and effective internal control framework. And obviously familiarity with GAAP research tools and the FASB codification. So if you're familiar with GAAP research, that will be helpful here. If you're someone who can go and research, for example, the new revenue recognition standards, this would be good. So experience working with a fast-paced, high-tech startup or complex company will help you. And then experience with researching and documenting support for accounting conclusions. So this is obviously a big one. If you're someone who's able to do the research on new standards from GAAP and come up with the conclusion and then summarizing the rationale or the support for your conclusion, this is highly valuable, right? So these are the kind of things that the qualifications that you have, it will make you stand out from the pack. All right, as far as the comp for an accountant, so looking at the comp, again, looking at Glassdoor, looks like the average base pay is about 71, 70, 72K. So it's a big range, but it looks like the average is around 70 to 80K, which is really good for someone with just 3 years of experience. And then you have the cash bonus, piece of it, which is about 17 or 18K. And then you have the stock bonus piece, which is between 8 and 10K. So all in all, you get to somewhere around 100K, 110K, which is really, really good for someone with only 3 years of experience in accounting. And with this, I'm going to take a quick break. My son has been bugging me all morning to go to the playground. So I'm going to take him there. I'll spend a few minutes. Maybe I'll show you around in the playground. I'll come back. I'll talk about the tax analyst position. See you then. Right, so we're here at the playground. It can get really cold here in the winter. We are in the Northeast in New Jersey. And as you can see, there's snow on the ground everywhere. We are a marsh. And part of the lake is frozen there. But we make the most out of it. I still come here on Saturday mornings with my son. He likes to go to the playground.
Daddy,
hello.
Stop talking to yourself.
He thinks I'm talking to myself, which I am in a way.
But you are talking to yourself.
Exactly. But anyway, just wanted to show you around, and I'll see you soon. All right, and we're back, and we're talking about the tax analyst position. And this tax analyst position is out of India, right? So as we said at the beginning of the video, Amazon is a global company. They have positions in China, US, India, and so many places around the globe, right? So for a tax analyst, this is a tax analyst position in India within the indirect tax compliance group. So with taxes, there are two major types of taxes, right? There is indirect and direct. What is the difference between them? Well, with direct, it means that you directly, as a taxpayer, pay the money to the government. And the biggest example of that is income tax or corporate income tax in this case, right? But with indirect taxes, indirect means that the taxes are paid by an entity to another entity and then is sent to the government. So there's sort of an indirect payment that is going to one entity to another and then to the government. In this case, it would be like VAT, for example. Then Amazon will be collecting the VAT from another company and then sending it to the government. And if you want to see more on VAT, I'll leave a link up to here to a video that I did on VAT, the difference between sales tax and VAT. But basically, this is a position within the indirect tax compliance group in Bangalore, India, right? So what kind of thing you'll be doing here? So this is for filing VAT and GST returns. So if you look at the job responsibilities, prepare indirect tax returns and related filings. So what that means is that you'll be logging into the various websites for the government. So for example, if you're filing GST in Singapore, You'll be then logging into the website on Singapore's government website, filling in the information, how much sales you have in the country, and how much purchases you have in the country, and then you calculate the tax, and then you make the payment. If you have more remittance than collection, you pay money, and the opposite. If you have more purchases, you'll be getting money back. So basically, this is the indirect tax return, and then assist with the indirect tax registration across the various jurisdictions. So obviously, you have to register for taxes with a jurisdiction when you have either sales in that jurisdiction or a permanent establishment in that jurisdiction. If you have a legal entity there, or if you have sales there or employees, every jurisdiction is different in the rules and regulations and what it requires the entity to register for taxes in that jurisdiction. So whenever you trigger that nexus or threshold in that jurisdiction, you assist in the registration process, which means that you have to submit your foundation document and corporation documents for the company, bank information, business information, and the such. So you'll be assisting in that process as well. And then you'll also be assisting in the documentation and improvement of the indirect tax processes. And then reviewing month-end indirect tax account reconciliation. So you have to reconcile the taxes that you are remitting to the government with what's on the balance sheet for the month. And then you'll provide internal and external audit support. So obviously the auditors will have questions about taxes, and then you'll be supporting and providing evidence for the audit. You'll provide indirect tax compliance support to colleagues throughout the business, whether it's accounting, AP, AR, or finance, and participate in cross-functional projects. Okay, these are the basic job responsibilities. Let's look at the qualification or basic qualification for this position. So you need experience of working in a large multinational organization or accounting firm. So you could be working for a private company that is multinational. You could also have worked in an accounting firm, right? 2 to 4 years of experience of working in finance and or indirect tax compliance function, right? So you could be working in finance, or you could be also working in tax. It's either or, right? Ability to communicate in English. So you obviously need to be able to read and write in English. Strong interpersonal, written, and oral communication skills. So this is obviously the soft skills, right? This is not the technical side. This is more on the soft skills side. You need to be able to talk to someone, explain a difficult concept, and things like that. A strong desire to exceed expectations, organized, analytical, methodical, and strong attention to detail. So obviously, this is the things that come with the territory. And then you need strong computer and technology skills and proficiency with Microsoft Excel. You'll be working with Excel a lot. So you need to be good at Excel, which is the basic stuff in Excel, VLOOKUPs, pivot tables, index match. So if you're not very strong on these functions, there's a lot of videos on YouTube that you can search and look at these functions. Able to take ownership of the work, implement change, and demonstrate problem-solving approach. Able to work in a tight deadline and under pressure. Okay, great. These are the basic qualification. If you really want to stand out, you'll have a university degree. So it looks like they didn't have a requirement in the basic qualification for a university degree, but if you have one, it's going to make you stand out. And then a recognized accounting or tax qualification designation such as CPA or chartered accountant, right? So this is how you stand out. Now, in terms of compensation for a tax analyst, similar to the accountant position, you're looking at, plus or minus, we have to base this based on where you're located. But if this position was in the US, the base pay is around $79,000. And then the total comp is around 100 to 110K a year. So that breaks down to base pay around 80K on average. And then you have cash bonus that's around $3,000 and stock bonus on average $20,000 with that gives you a total comp package around 100 to 110K, which is very, very good for someone with about 2-3 years of experience. This is a solid compensation. All right, so this has been everything on the 3 positions that I wanted to discuss in Amazon. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section below. And if you want me to discuss any other companies beside Amazon, go ahead and let me know in the comment section. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.